meant for Shimbali, right? And therefore, it almost kind of feels like an overkill when like picking Shimbali, right? The ENCE out. Why ban the Sigma? But I think it's also a question of trying to find a hero that technically somewhere hurts the enemy, but doesn't hurt myself, right? So, for example, banning the Mauga wouldn't have worked, or banning the Remetra, because you harm yourself as well. But Bleed Esports, they don't want to play the Sigma here, and now, although ENCE might not have planned to do so, they just can't.
So what it feels like ENCE are about to do if they do stick this Mauga is they are going to ban the Sigma. So the way the rock, paper, scissors would historically work with these tanks is Mauga beats Ramatra, but Sigma can beat Mauga. But if you take the Sigma out of the equation, in theory Mauga could be quite strong, but it does actually seem it might just be a D.Va dive. There's at least going to be a Matrix for Kevster's peak. No picks fight. And now we'll get to see what ENCE's choice really is, but it is that D.Va dive. So I feel a little bit weird from ENCE's point of view, because I feel like this comp would have actually preferred to play against Ana Kiri rather than Kiri Lucio. Whereas now I just feel like they're in a mirror, or mostly a mirror, with a slightly worse tank. So it all comes down to, can ENCE kill high vision on these engages?
That's going to be one of the main pillars this victory might be built on, honestly. Trying to figure out a way into the lines of Bleed Esports. First couple of meters are being made. First process in the books. It's going to take more than that for sure. Pistola, he finds high vision. That is obviously the pick they were looking for, but Paladin takes out Sky, gets killed by Kevster in return. Advantage still on the side of ENCE, especially because the spawn is fairly close to them. Rakatek takes out Clear and Kevster takes out Ace. Therefore, ENCE has got a clean road ahead of them, able to make a couple of meters, get them in the books, and just wait for Bleed Esports to regroup and come at them again.
It's mirror time, and the more of these games we see, the more this comp that's on our screen right now feels like it might be a really core part of the meta, especially if you're a team like ENCE and Bleed, where your tank is just really good at D.Va and prefers playing D.Va. So if you remember this series, if you were with us earlier, obviously a lot of echo focus is in the equation. We saw ENCE do very well as they come with this beat push, and it's the same story again. It was Tree before, it's high vision now, and ENCE probably feel pretty comfortable with this matchup they've ended in.
They at least seem to do so. Yeah, the picks falling their favor once again. Maimon and Kevster, they're just hunting down the remains of Bleed Esports. Very quick first point capture here for the ENCE roster. 4 minutes 30 is quite high time bank, honestly, especially for Shimbali. But now the first ultimates are out of the equation once again. We are looking.
It's something we saw earlier as well a lot, where they were able to find ways to get onto Tree and just kill this Echo before they can get into play. And same story again, Kevster's behind and just assassinates high vision. Now the beat's committed anyway. Ramon's going to get the copy D.Va. We're actually probably just playing mostly defense with this. Now his team is safe, he can push his backline. And ENCE have got this cart rolling, and they don't seem to plan to stop anytime soon. Just get a late trade on Rack here, actually, Yoshi, which will be an annoying one to deal with. Clear's going to try and remake with this. Probably a mistake. Gets a pulse bomb out at least for his trouble, but probably really not worth it. We'll now be going into the next fight with not a whole lot for either team, honestly.
But keep that very, very good timing of them up. One now Bleed obviously going for the push right here, trying to collapse on the enemy backlines, but ENCE able to get out there rather quickly without any damage on their own rows.
ENCE really wanted to wait for this Kitsune rush, so they'll just cop a cheeky disengage before they can come back with this one. Now they come in as a copy D.Va engage comes, or as a copy Kiri actually. But as long as they can survive this, they should be okay just to live on the Kiri ult here, ENCE, and that's exactly what they're doing. Deal with a copy, couple of late trades. If they can get enough trades here, it will be good enough for Bleed to stabilize. They're going to try and get Clear back in mech. The payload is moving away though, which might be a problem. Now they have to die on point, but they might have made that decision to die on point too late. It's free on cart and there's no touch.
Yeah, that Sky Vastola dude, they've been doing such a good work on this last push here. Able to clean up the remains of Bleed Esports. The way is clear, and therefore it is a very good timing. Once again, 3 minutes 50 on the clock. Plenty of time to work with, set up a new economy, but they are already 3 ultimates up ahead. The economy for Bleed Esports on the other side is not really looking too shiny. They do have the Kasuni Rush ready though.
Kelly is going to start that one. They're going to try and beat back. Rack just about gets it off. There are still Diva bombs to come out for this one, but Vessler wants to turn his attention towards this backline first, but Clear's actually made an aggressive move. Vessler will come pocket everyone through. Coffee now from Ramon to push back in, and look at that, all over Paley. No cooldowns left, and they win these big ult trades as well, but Clear's not done yet. Another risky bomb remake. Oh, Kevs has got 2 to clean that one up, and ENCE are still rolling.
They're rolling fast, actually, really fast. A bit too fast, maybe, for Bleed Esports, as they seem to kind of not be able to, well, get a hold of them. Clear now swapping over to the Junker Queen for a last Hail Mary action, maybe. Solar, he's got the bomb ready for a remake, potentially. Sky is so close to the Kasuni Rush once again. Maybe the ultimate they want to work with here.
Going to wait for that one before they start it. I don't know if the Queen really feels better in here. They're going to shout defensively to try and keep up their echo, but the beat doesn't hit Paley, so he just dies through it. Player advantage, Kitsune Rush on point, and they're in big trouble. High Vision gets a single trade, but a single trade will not save the situation, and it's going to be a monster time bank from ENCE.
No touch in the end as well. I'm not too sure if it counts as a C9 rack attack, but it's close enough for sure. Very, very good timing in favor of ENCE right here. Definitely a massive upgrade compared to their performance on Lijiang Tower for sure. However, obviously, Bleed Esports is now their turn to push that card all the way. And potentially, if possible, even with a likewise high time bank. At least this is something that they would definitely need to be able to keep up with ENCE, as they have now done their part of the job. The good defense would just, well, shorten the way, honestly.
What I think we're seeing here is a pretty good demonstration of why we thought it was such a good signing to bring Ramon into this ENCE team, because it enables this double flex DPS, and you'll see this throughout this tournament, is it's really hard to play hit scan these days. And if you can force a team into a situation where they're in this type of mirror, you know, a trade to Echo or some kind of double flex DPS, and suddenly you look at someone like Bleed Esports, who one of their standout players has been High Vision, but he's been standout on hit scan. All of a sudden you force him onto Echo. He really struggles. Eventually they swap it around. You see, as they're starting now, High Vision will be Tracer, Yoshinori will be Echo. They're struggling, they can't match this. Meanwhile, ENCE, Kevster and Ramon are on their comfort picks. If you could ask them to pick one hero in the game to play, it would be these heroes. So I think we'll see this matchup, or this type of ban system, where teams will try and force players who have a hit scan player into this type of mirror, and feel pretty happy about it, as I'm sure ENCE do right now.
They sure are indeed, absolutely. And now Bleed Esports, what can they do in their attack round? Full 4 minutes, plenty of time to work with. But the ENCE defense, they seem to have stabilized from that, well, not so great performance on Lijiang Tower for sure. More and more getting a hang of what Bleed Esports have actually planned in this matchup right here. The brawl is taking place. The Echo Duel is won by ENCE, however players fall dangerously low here. But with Solar, that Matrix is blocking so much damage as he's able to get the kill on the Kiriko. Maimon on Ace, and therefore Bleed Esports are stopped for now, especially the late Diva kill. So painful here.
And there's no ledges really on Shambali, at least on this part of Shambali. So Clear is going to be forced into a long and painful remake. He is going to go back and swap here now, so we'll have to obviously reset now. Ult charge. Oh, not actually. Well, he is resetting his ult charge, but because we are changing the comp, Moira, Mauga coming out here. So very aggressive, but ultimately Diva into Mauga is a really fine matchup now, because you can match that cardiac overdrive with Matrix. So we'll see how it goes. It's actually going to be a copy Mauga, and this is going to spell all sorts of trouble for Clear.
Oh, it sure does. It does so much damage indeed as well, and just the fact that Maimon is able to take so much damage here. He doesn't even care for it. Wins and a full fight. It also enables for other ultimates to be fully charged for ENCE now. While Bleed Esports, due to that late comp swap they did, their economy is not looking that shiny yet.
It's a weird comp from Bleed Esports. We'll have to wait and see if it works out. It's going to be a Kitsune rush. Obviously, no Lucio now means they can't really disengage it. Meanwhile, Rack is going to deal with the Tracer, deal with the Echo. Copy Diva comes out. Yoshinori is doubling down on this one. Trades are good for the attackers in this situation, but I don't know if they can get too many more as Pulse Bomb goes out onto a wall from Kevster here. They maybe push off that. They are forcing them back at least, so for Pulse Bomb with a wall works out, I guess.
Heavy investments made on both sides already. This fight is far from over. Kevster now gets the kill on clear. This could enable ENCE to finish this one in their favor once again, but it's been fairly expensive on the one side. They spent 3 ultimates. On the other side though, all of those 3 ultimates are already half charged again. It's not too bad at all.
So they do have the cage coming up, which is a really big win condition. It's a very tricky ult to deal with if you don't have certain ults. They do have beat to deal with it, but maybe not. I think if I'm Bleed Esports, I can start this one with Coalescence, then look to cage mid-fight. It's actually going to be a beat push, though. They're going to try and get on top here, but Clear is just going to try and cardiac overdrive defensively. Now they push back in, and Clear is about to have that cage. They lose Yoshinori, but they can still get killed if this cage connects. But oh, he's dropped it, but they've lost too many people. High Vision gets 2 trades in the cage. They're still trying to trade. There's 3 people trapped in this cage. The bomb comes out. I don't know if they'll get enough. Can Vespa get back into mech? Yes is the answer. This will be a big stabilize here for ENCE, and they even want a few more late kills, and they'll get one right there.
Oh, it's so painful for Bleed Esports at this point. They're just investing so much into this, but nothing seems to work against the composition of ENCE right now. Maybe a raw fight could help here. Kevster's got the pulse bomb ready again, looking for a target here, of course, now. And this might be an opener. Yoshi takes a duel, but instantly gets traded by Vestola. It's a 4v4 against Kevster, still looking for a situation to put that pulse bomb to use. Clear gets the kill on Sky. Vestola trades it for Ace. The overtime already activated, it's ticking down for sure. Clear with 2 kills. Will it be enough though? The Diva now the pulse bomb comes in as well, gets eaten though by Clear. This might be the game winner here for them, at least a fight winner for sure, as Vestola in the baby Diva form won't really be able to make too much happen here.
Forces for copy at least. It's a big moment actually, and Bleed were really struggling on this, and ultimately Yoshinori with a big play to win an opening Echo Duel, then Clear with a clutch Pulse Bomb meeting to kill Kevster. It gives them a chance. Kevster's gone sim to get everyone back nice and quickly here. And it's going to be a Kitsune rush trade on point here, and this could go either way.
Kitsune rushes both come in. Kevster gets the early pick on the Echo. This could be the game changer, as Clear is already falling dangerously low on the Diva as well. Vestola has the bomb ready, maybe even place it on the car, but might not even need it after all, as Maimon and ENCE, they clear up Shimbali, and they equal up to Sirius.
Had to kind of clutch to even get it to that fight, and then Wamon just comes back, wins that Echo Duel. Pocket not there in time. You have to, if you're the Diva in these situations, it's no good matrixing the Echo late, because the beam will just cut through it. You need to matrix the stickies, because if they differ, and it's really tricky.
Not an easy situation to be in those duels indeed, but ENCE, they were able to make it work in the end. They were able to come up ahead here. It's a very tough situation to be in for sure, but they made it work in the end.
It worked out, yeah, and it was a back and forth series, but I think ENCE now have a pretty clear idea of there's a matchup in this series that they can just play all the time and be quite happy with. You know, if they can keep forcing this type of map when it comes to their picks, they should feel pretty alright with it, but it shouldn't be discounted. Now, the importance of winning map 1 is it means all you need to do is win your picks and you win the series. So even if this goes all the way, Bleed are going to get to pick the next map. and if they lose another one, they get to pick the next map. So as long as they win their picks, Bleed can actually win this series still. So it'll be interesting how they choose to go around it, as much as ENCE now know they want to play D.Va and play this mirror. Bleed certainly know they don't want to play this mirror anymore.
Surely not. And I mean, yeah, probably ends with the experience they bring in, with all those players like Kefsa and Kai, who are so experienced in this roster in general. They probably have the advantage the longer the series goes on the other side, right? Because they'll learn more from Bleed, and Bleed will probably learn from ENCE when it comes to understanding how the enemy comp works, especially because there's been a bit more visibility on how ENCE plays officials in general. They've been in the major in Dallas, right? There's a couple of good videos to learn from here, while obviously there's not too much to prepare for Bleed, as they've been quite under the radar for many teams. And so I don't know how much preparation actually came in here, and therefore the learning curve for the first few situations obviously is slightly higher. Therefore, we have now, for the first time once again, on this broadcast, we've got a tight series, right? It's 1-1, and now it goes back to Bleed, as they are going to pick their map this time. A couple of options on the desk, of course, a couple of bans they can do. However, unfortunately, one of the most crucial bans is out of the system already, and that's the Sigma ban that could have been fairly useful against, well, a team that is basically based around Vestola, and therefore it would have been good to have that, maybe, because on a map like Shimbali, it didn't do too much, honestly.
We're going to get the map picks and the bans and everything coming in. There's a few substitutions to be had as well, so we'll talk about all of that when we're back from this quick break.
ladies and gentlemen, it's all tied between Bleed Esports and ENCE, and therefore we are going into map number 3. However, last map was won by ENCE as well, and therefore it is now up to Bleed Esports to make the decisions and tell us where to go for this map number 3. And from what I heard in comms in our production Discord, it's going to be an interesting one.
We're going to be moving on to Surasa here. So this is a pick from Bleed Esports. I think what we've seen so far in the series is Bleed's success has come in a Ram mirror, not in a Diva mirror that we saw on Shambali. In the Diva mirror, it was all ENCE all the way. It wasn't actually that close in the end, was a full hold. So Bleed will be very keen to keep it away from that as well. And we move on to Surasa, where generally it's a brawl mirror, as we can take a look at our players on stage here, because we've also had quite a lot of substitutions on the side as well. Well, on the side of ENCE, unsurprisingly. They have bolstered out their roster for this tournament, and we'll get to see a lot more of those players in action. So this is the Bleed side right now, and we can take a look at the bans as well, which has really motivated all these roster substitutions. So it was Bleed to ban first, and they have done the classic lose to Diva, ban the Diva off the cards. And as such, this is obviously really quite an aggressive ban coming out from Bleed, trying to sabotage some of the success ENCE had. So ENCE have actually gone for a Lucio ban, which is really interesting. Obviously, in theory, that means Rack's hero pool will be tested, but they've actually substituted Rack out, and we'll be seeing a rare mirror appearance who will actually come into play double flex support. So I think the logic here is very much the weakness of double flex support is one, Lucio dive, because these all-in dives mean if you want to play like an Ilari Baptiste, you want to play kind of wide and take a lot of angles. If you have teams on like Lucio Kiri and like a Diva or Winston, you can kind of just run it down and kill anyone who splits off all that much, and you're forced to all play together, and then you become a bit more of a juicier target for a dive as well. But if you take the Lucio away from that, it forces them into a more difficult situation, when presumably they wanted to play probably something like Diva Lucio Kiri, or at least a Lucio Kiri version.
Absolutely, and one thing that is not to be underestimated with that Lucio ban either is the change of pace in the game in general, right? So obviously Surasa, right, we've got 5 points, a couple of long walks to go, and without a speed boost, that totally changes the momentum. It changes the amount of attacks you can maybe take on a point, especially at those flash points that do tick very, very fast, and therefore every second indeed counts. It's going to be a challenge. It will definitely reduce the fights on this map for sure, and obviously with that also makes each single fight even more important for both of those teams. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Bleed, they seem to be very focused on trying to, well, decrease the choices that the tank lineup of ENCE has, and I'm looking forward to seeing Miro on the big stage now here as well. Definitely a substitution that maybe Bleed wasn't even expecting, right? Because if you can't play the Diva, there's a couple of options that still work really well for Surasa, but definitely happy to see Miro in the matchup here, and therefore obviously, yeah, see what he can do.
It's interesting because there was a lot of talk when Miro was added to this roster of, well, what are you even going to use him for? And we get to see the answer to that today. He's going to come in for flex support. Originally, we did hypothesize that actually this was a role Wimone could fill for the team. Miro is truly Mr. Flexible when it comes to it, as we get a little tattoo focus here from Sky, who seems a bit chilly, honestly. Jacket around the shoulders, hand warmer in tow.
I mean, he's just flexing with the gear, you know, just showing off what the ENCE store has to offer. But yeah, I mean, I could imagine, apparently the weather down in Riyadh is not too great today, right? We've had a couple of internet things at other competitions as well, where apparently there's stuff going on. Can't tell personally, remote casting right here. But yeah, obviously, can be quite chilly, I guess.
Yeah, if you go outside in Riyadh right now, you would be absolutely scorched. But when you're in the arena, it's super cool, actually. Fully airconned, nice and comfortable, obviously.
Are now preparing for, well, this third map now, Shambali, obviously, being played already. So Ravasa coming up. We do definitely want to have your opinions in this vote as well, though, right, guys? Remember There's plenty of opportunities to show what you think. Make sure to go to stc.gg to stcplay.gg, pardon me, to give us your votes as well, right? We are looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this matchup as we start right into it. And Bleed Esports tied up now, but one surely after this one will go to match point.
So here's what we see in terms of the matchup. It is that double flex support as we anticipated from ENCE. Mirror will be on the Alari. Sky will be on the Ana at least for now. Might swap to a BAP. Yeah, there we go. Bleed, obviously, in theory, are just going to take a version of this Mirror as well, which is a little bit tricky because obviously what would normally happen is the expected counter to ENCE's comp would be some kind of dive Mirror. But that would be a Winston-based comp or a Bull-based comp, which I don't think Clear really has in his hero pool, so has to play in this Ram version. So we're just going to get pretty much a straight-up double flex support Mirror for maybe one of the first times, at least on this side of the stream. So slow, pokey, all about angles. Keep your eye on the flanks for this one.
Flashpoint unlocks in 10 seconds.
So many angles you can come from as well in this situation, of course. Gotta consider all the options. Kai already looking for a couple of shots here. Clear has to be healed back up. He's already taken a lot of damage once again, falling low here, dangerously low indeed. But Ace and Pale, they have it under control for now, while ENCE is getting possession of this first point first.
Typically in a Ram versus Sigma matchup, you will see that the Ram loves to walk into the Sigma, push him all the time, but without Lucio, that's a lot trickier. So actually, this is a much more even matchup for the Sigma than we normally see. As Keswick does get this opening pick, but we kind of saw an example of that. Now, with the Sigma, with the BAP, with the Alari, it's just a bit shootier. There's more guns in play, or at least more guns that are better at poke damage than there is in the form of the Ana and the Ramatra here. So they lose that poke battle. They're even going to get a late kill on Ace here, which means ENCE are in cruise control. One more fight. And remember, no Lucios. So it's actually a really annoying recontest to take from this point. And this is going to be a problem for both teams as we go through this Surasa without Lucio here. And these late touches, if you get staggered out, can be really, really hard to deal with.
Definitely that change of momentum, change of pace in general on this map will be a crucial factor for both teams. Map control and point control is going to be the factor here. Dynamite comes online, and now you're just now starting to get the first ultimates online. ENCE will have all 5 of them, but the Solar, he falls early in the fight, and therefore Bleed Esports, they might just have won this without too big of an investment overall. Just the nano boost did the
shooting, but the nano... This can help the Ramatra team because the Ramatra doesn't like long, pokey sightlines like that first fight we saw. Likes to play corners and play to engage. So you can see Clear standing at the top of this staircase. Quite happy to walk into him if they come too close. So ENCE maybe need to start this one with an ult to get themselves a bit of space.
Ultimates now being thrown at ENCE, so they have to retreat at least a little bit here. Clear could follow this up with the Annihilation as well if needed. Uses it indeed, and he gets the picks from it. Sky, Kevster, Kai, they all fall under the Annihilation. Solar is able to get the Kiriki out here, but it won't be enough. There's only a small touch from ENCE here. Won't even be enough to flip the point, but maybe enough time to get somebody else back on the point. Kevster indeed gets another touch at this. Maybe, just maybe, ENCE can make this work, but it doesn't really seem like it. As Bleed are just killing them one by one by one. Overtime is down. Bleed Esports, despite getting on this point as late as imaginary possible, they make it work.
A really good hold. It was very expensive in the end, and there's always a level of anxiety that comes over me when I see a team just keep pushing, and it feels like it has overextend written all over it, but they keep investing ults, they get the picks, and they do actually convert off that. So all that investment pays because they win that first point. We'll move over to point B now. Flux versus Nano, so probably defensive Nano from Ace, maybe to survive, but who am I kidding? They're just going to Nano the Ramen and kill Sky. Sky way too close, and Vessler's going to end up with a Flux Jax as well, and well, they just weren't ready for this Nano Ram, and it's flashbacks to Lijiang Tower right now, Julian.
It really is. It looks like they're really struggling against the Ram for sure. Now the Solar though, he's on the Sigma. This is his signature hero for sure. And the question is now, obviously, will it win? Third map, they don't want to give it to Bleed. They need to win this one for sure. They have a couple of ultimates to work with. Kefter's got the Pulse Bomb. Got the Larry ultimate as well on Mirror.
They can maybe just start with a Captive Sun here, which is what they're going to do, and it does hit clear, force out clear, so no, actually, they'll just kill it through. Kitsune Rush available, but the Rock connects, and Vessler will finish that one himself, and oh, that is a gift, because that Kitsune Rush, that Annihilation were coming up, and that retake, it was about to look borderline impossible for ENCE to walk back onto that point versus the Kitsune Rush and the Ramattra ult. But they get the kill, the Captive Sun opens it just in time, and now all of a sudden there's still a big ult bank to deal with from Bleed Esports, but much nicer to do it when you're in control of a point here. Chance to poke early, chance to set Kevster up in this Pulse Bomb. They still need a little bit of help here, but maybe a Kev flank, a Kai flank. ENCE need their main men to pull something out now.
Anyone can be the difference maker. Kevster, the Pulse Bomb could be the game changer here if he can find somebody to stick it towards her, but Bleed, they've got so much to work with. Kitsune Rush being pulled first, point already flipped here in the favor of Bleed Esports, and oh, my High Vision is getting the first pick clear. Another one. Kevster, he does get Wonder, but it will not be enough for sure, will it? Miro getting a second one though. Can they make it work? Maybe with a little bit of help here they can, but clear, he's still on the point. And Kevster, he will have to take that 1v1 here. Does do it very aggressively, but he's trying to buy time for his team as well. And he can make that duel work. Lamping thrown his way as well. Overtime at the last possible second. Kevster steps up for ENCE.
If there's a man you want in a clutch, it is Kevster, and he comes out on top there exactly when his team needed him. Bleed Esports so close to taking that one, and they did invest heavily. Kitsune Rush, Ramattra ult. They do keep doing this combo as well. We'll probably see it again in this map. Bleed Esports will drop the Kitsune Rush, drop the bomb. It's really dangerous and really scary, but one good disengage can neutralize two, but Kevster's not done here. Kevster's just warming up, and there goes Ace, and this retake is like over before it starts. Why not even need this Pulse Bomb? He doesn't.
Might not even need it after all, and he gets two in the melee. And somehow, some way, ENCE under the caring hands of Kevster, honestly, they are able to take point 2, and therefore now it's all tied up again. But Mirror, he's very far away for this first duel. Maybe Bleed does know that, and maybe they'll take an early fight, a fast fight here. Technically, they do have that advantage with them currently.
Expect it could be a Nano, but it's hard to get value out of a Nano Ram here because Vessler could just flux him. But actually, Vessler wants to start the fight here, just wants to try and kill backline. Will kill him with the help of Kevster here. Now the Rock onto Clear deals with that Nano, and Clear is going nowhere fast with this Nano. ENCE have contained the threat, and now they can push forward. Captive Sun on the backline. Suzu is good. They need to find kills here, but they actually lose one. Vessler's won the battle on point, but they need to deal with this backline high ground, but they're kind of just shielded off at the moment, so just leave them up there and kill them late, honestly. There's no way for Ace to escape.
And honestly, it's like, this map, it's such a roller coaster of emotions, right? It goes the way of Bleed, it goes the way of ENCE. It seems like their performance is so much varying depending on which flashpoint is reactive.
Yeah, I think it's actually just a huge mistake from Vessler. He wants to push top and he gets caught by the backline. So now it's just a free retake here. They commit window to it as well. The ult trade doesn't end up the worst ult trade in terms of value you've ever seen from ENCE, but it has to really be questioned that Vessler thought he could go clear, solve some of their problems. He can kind of just meet clear in a lot more of these situations, but still has to respect the Annihilation and Nano advantage that Bleed currently have, which means might just be a bob and disengage if you're ENCE right now. Just try and get one of these big scary ults out of the way.
Absolutely, but clear. He can't even use this one in time, and now the Bob's on site, and you have killed the enemy tank player. The Bob somehow gets woken up as well. All going in favor of ENCE. Technically, they just need to make it work for them now. They just need to collect the kills they've earned and Kai gets the kill on the Kirikin. Will be enough to flip the point back into their favor. Don't over-engage it now though. It's still almost a one-fight game here.
Oh, he's gonna
They're
die
able to
late.
kill Ace very, very late in this one.
Ace tried to gamble. Ace tried to gamble now. Nobody knew he was there, essentially, and he could just come with a flank nade and nano at some point in the fight. But they knew, and Kevster kills him late, and now they're going to have to touch without Ace, essentially, which means a Bob to touch for high vision here. They can give a touch, and they do have ults coming back, but Kevster again. And ENCE going to take the advantage in this all-important third map. Oh, they're trying to clutch.
Technically clear, would still have the annihilation, but is it worth pulling it out right here if you definitely have one more point to work with? They're still putting a lot of ultimates into this actually. They flipped it for sure. They're using the Kiriko, the Kitsune Rush as well. Heavy investments going in here for Bleak, but it seems to be worth it in the end.
Vesla should have the annihilation to match actually. Aggressive move does kill Mirror, but will be getting focused down now, holding on. Ramatra fight on point, but they win the beam battle. And actually, it might still be traded. It's not over yet. It's a dogfight for this final point. Kev and Kai on point, trying to deal with this. Tracer Lamp is late from Sky, but Kev is still there. Still full pocket. Pulse bomb's good from Kev, but they've lost for everyone else. Sky is on the high ground, and Bleed Esports. I think they've got it. Can Sky touch? Can anyone else? Bob? Ball to touch. They're committed back to this.
Oh, they can.
What's the C9? Oh.
This is so sad because in the end, I mean, Bleed, yes, they invested so much into it, but it worked out in the end. And now they forced ENCE to invest so much as well.
It worked out, but almost for none of the reasons their decisions were made over. They commit all the ults, and that really could be a turning point of the series. If they lose that fight, I really think the ult economy is in tatters and Bleed can't win. But the swaps come out, so ENCE are actually back on Sigma now. Ult economy not looking great. It's just a Bob, but Bleed about to have both support ults coming up in this one as well.
Well, the point's active now. See who makes the first proper move. ENCE currently in possession for sure, but obviously only the first couple of percentages locked in for them for sure. 2 support line ultimates available for Bleed. They can use those now. Nano boost comes out, but it's not really doing too much, honestly.
It's forced them back at least, and Mirror and Kai are actually the ones finding the value on the flank. So it's the flank that pays dividends for ENCE here, and they should be able to trade up from that. Annihilation will be popped by Clear. He thinks he can clutch. He kills one, but he's got no supports. He is punching, but he's just focused down. I mean, honestly, if he had any pocket there, he probably would have clutched it, but they managed to kill both supports there, and ENCE win free flanking, and that's what their comp is so good at, with the Illari especially. And it's Kai and Mirror who do the heavy lifting for him there. And Nat, we talked about the ult investment in the previous fight, maybe bankrupting Bleed. They clutched that previous one out. They do not clutch this one out. So now the ult economy is in tatters. And Bleed have maybe not just thrown away this point, but thrown away this map with that.
Maybe it's just about forcing 1 or 2 ultimates off the bank of ENCE for now, right? You do have one more point to work with. But there's I mean, they technically can't lose anything because they can't invest anything. But it's definitely a question of how much can you force off ENCE. But ENCE knows, ENCE is aware of this. They don't want to invest too much, however, they still do. 3 actually. They invest the pulse bomb, they invest the Illari ultimate and the window. Overtime's ticking down for sure, therefore this is all coming down to the last point indeed. And now that ENCE has invested quite a lot here, it is once again an equal fight.
It's really balanced it out there. I mean, like, the pulse bomb window aren't the most expensive ults, but it's still worthwhile. So now all of a sudden, this next fight looks way more easy for Bleed to deal with than it otherwise would. Still a technical advantage because it's equal bobs and a flux for Vesla, but not a huge amount of flux value so far. And it does give a chance for Bleed to get their support ults sooner rather than later.
Once again, it's ENCE at the point first, but this time Bleak decides to contest it right away. Bob against Bob once again. With the anti-nade, it makes it a one-sided duel. Bleak Esports have that slight advantage, but Bob is gone as well. And still trying to flip the point. Good stick there from Yoshi, but only takes out
bleed a lot of time off the clock, but it was so weird that Bob fight, but Bobs run into each other, and then both teams feel compelled to use every single cooldown on the Bobs. We saw Bobs get naded, Suzu'd, everything to win that Bobs battle, for whatever reason. But now, the big story is Bleed have control of the point, they've got Nano, they've got Annihilation. How do ENCE take this fight? It's a tricky one.
Definitely not an easy approach for sure. Kester close to the pulse, but maybe can find a pick on the backline here. This would open an opportunity for ENCE, but they'll need to find something here. They're wasting and losing so much. But Sky, he's able to step up here, takes that ace. This could be the opener, but the Annihilation does damage to Sky Ripper in return. Kai and Kefster, they are here, they're ready for this. They step up as well. While Miro gets taken out by High Vision, but Kefster, he's there, he's ready. And ENCE, they flip it just in time. 86% on the count of Bleed Esports already though.
What a play from Sky. They knew the Annihilation was coming. They knew Clear was close. Sky drops a window. One box ace straight out of there. So not just no Nano for Clear, no pocket for Clear. Clear doubles down with the Annihilation, but a man on an island gets taken down. Now Captive Sun versus Nano. It's all going to be about who gets more value.
Ultimates once again be thrown in. It's still do or die for ENCE, honestly, on this map right here. And High Vision, he gets the kill mode. This is so painful. The stick from Captain has to be big. It is indeed. Oh. He gets the Ash out of there, but Diana, timing is all. They can actually recall it. This could be the change. Kai gets the kill on Diana, but Caster falls in the end. Kai does as well. Sky, once again, would have to step up right here, but he can't. He simply cannot take this fight alone. And there's only 10% left for ENCE to touch. The touch will come for sure from Sky.
Touches. It's so tricky, but supports happen to try and pocket each other through this. They land themselves on for one more touch. ENCE are on the ropes. Mirror goes back. Kevsa has to try and get the touch next. I think he's got it. Vessler's on point as well, nearly with this Annihilation, but the Kitsune Rush, they're going to try and burn through Vessler. Can Vessler live? He's shielded off.
It looks like it.
Mirror with two. Oh, he does enough. I think he does just about enough there. Mirror's come back in, he's got the kills, and ENCE, I think that they clutch. What a clutch, what a touch, what a play from the ENCE backline.
How's that even possible? How did they win this fight? It was lost for sure there. And now Bleed Esports there in the same situation as ENCE was before. No fights left, but no ultimates left as well. And they cannot even touch. No way, the body block does it in the end. And ENCE closer, for sure closer than they wanted, but they make it happen in the end. More luck than brain at some point maybe, but it worked out in the end. And ENCE are able to step up. They go to match point.
Again, just to clarify for our viewers at home, as much as it doesn't always look like it, ENCE did win that map with a massive clutch. more sighs of relief on the side of ENCE and celebrations, though. This series is not what they expected at all, but you have to say, even though it was ugly, it required a lot of heavy lifting from Kevster throughout, and a lot of heavy lifting, especially from Sky and Mirror on that last point. This is the breaker, right? That was the map pick from Bleed Esports. So with that, ENCE have now regained control of the series instead of picks.
And you're totally right? On Wikipedia, if you read it a week later, it doesn't say if it was close. It only says you won. And that was what counts in the end, right? That's what counts in the end, right? And as you mentioned, right, this is the turning point. Because now if they lose fourth pick, they again can pick on the final point. And therefore, the advantage is now going their way as they won a pick that was done by Bleed Esports. Massive advantage going their way now for sure. On the other hand, obviously, you preferably don't want to, well, have it come that far anyways, right? You would want to win this in a 4-mapper now. And they've got the opportunity to do so. Bleed Esports, once again, are now asked to make a map pick and make a first ban, of course. This all definitely probably something that they want to give a couple of minutes, want to make sure that they are actually, well, at least slightly rested, just get the heart rate down a bit again. But Kevster, honestly, he has been coming up clutch on this map so many times. What a performance by him, but also obviously by the rest of the team right here. It didn't look pretty, but it's a team effort in the end, and it paid off for sure.
I think ultimately, we talked a lot about Kevster before in this tournament in terms of Kevster still looks like a high quality player, he always has done, but maybe the second part of this year so far, a little bit off the boil. Not massive carry performances, but this right here, this was vintage Kevster, this was him back to his best.
Absolutely, and yeah, we'll indeed go to a quick break. I'll need a break from that intense fight, and I'm sure the players will do as well. Therefore, we'll be right back when it comes to map number 4. ENCE can close the series, or Bleed can bring us into map 5. Kevster saves the day for ENCE on map number 3, and we've been talking a little bit in a break. Honestly, Commander X, I feel like despite ENCE won that map, not too sure whether they know why.
It was clutch after clutch. It was a little bit of bleed, throwing their ult economy away at various times. It seems Bleed are happy to invest in the clutch and to play for that, and sometimes it's paid dividends, and maybe ultimately on Surasa it costs them a little bit there. So as a result, Bleed are going to pick that next map, and it will be Colosio now we're going into here as well. So a few things about how this series has gone. I think both times there's been some kind of ram or slow brawly mirror. We've seen it look actually pretty good for the Bleed side of things, so it feels like Colosio is certainly a map you can do that again. And we can take a look as everyone gets ready for this match as well. A lot on the line, and ENCE certainly feel a little bit shaken.
Yeah, as we take a look at the bans as well, right? ENCE decides to ban the Kiriko, so therefore one of the main essential characters in the current standard meta not available for both teams here. Echo as well, banned on the side of Bleed Esports. Two fairly often used characters, especially in this matchup as well. This obviously also slightly disabled somebody like Maimon, for example, who... Well, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's take a look. But
yeah, it seems like they've kept Kai in as a result. Yeah. I think my expectation here is very much if you are Bleed Esports, you don't want them to be able to play in this D.Va Echo Kiri comp. So you take Echo away because you take a key part away. Something we've not seen also much today with these series is the way the bans work is because you only get to ban a hero once per series if you're on that team. You can't just keep banning D.Va because you keep losing to D.Va. You only get to ban it once. So they had their one D.Va ban and they missed that chance on Surasa. Now they're having to try and find alternate ways to try and minimize the comp. But what's interesting is ENCE then banned second and actually take Kiriko away, which in theory, the worry I think if you're ENCE is they play some kind of Ana-Kiri type comp or something, right? So you take Kiri away from them, and then you say, what does that backline for Bleed Esports play? Do they just go a Lucio Bap, force a Brawl Mirror? Because you're probably happy with that if ENCE do that. So a lot of eyes here, and they're just going to Lucio Ana it? Interesting.
Super interesting, absolutely. Kevster currently on the Hanzo. Not too sure if that's gonna happen. I wouldn't mind though. On the other side, yeah, Bastola seems to be playing the D.Va. I like it. Kevster back to the Tracer makes way more sense in this composition as well. Clear sticks to the Ram, and honestly, I like it. It's been working good for him so far. You indeed have that Ana Lucio backline now.
So in theory now, this Ana Lucio maybe still a little bit scary for the D.Va, but it is, Mirror is still in, Sky is still in, the same roster is still in for Renta. It is double flex support. So they're going to play slow, they're going to play pokey. Colosio a little bit of a narrower map. It's a bit more wide now with the glass gone, but it's actually Mirror who gets shut down first. As a result, Bleed will just start walking on forward, clearing out one angle at a time, forcing them all the way back. The difficulty obviously comes now for Bleed Esports. As well, they remove the glass and they open up the map a little bit more. There's still this horrendous low ground to high ground fight that you need to win if you're Bleed Esports now. A lot of your options really fall into high vision to try and click on enough heads to get themselves out of this pickle. Will be a very slow matchup, I think, this one in reality.
Yeah, you have to be super considerate with the steps here, right? There's a lot of natural cover you can work with, but you make sure to not overextend too much. Even Kai has to be super careful here. 15 meters on the clock already for Bleed Esports. A couple of them happen very quickly, but yeah, they've got possession of the card here, therefore also obviously in a defensive position a little bit more. Now it's ENCE's turn to step up and make something happen here. Dynamite does connect to a couple of players here. Bleed Esports, their backline already has the ultimates available. High Vision is very close to the High Noon as well. They're in full control of those first 2 minutes here.
They're going to try and beat past this window, but High Vision gets caught. They still have the nano if they want to double down, but you see Vessler just reset to high ground, and there's nothing they can do about this, honestly. They're just stuck up there. A Kev's trade doesn't do much for him in the end, and they'll even get the late stagger kill here onto Yoshinori. No way out, but will die on the robot. And this is the problem a lot of comps face if you don't have some sort of clever way to take that high ground, whether you have a lot of heroes who can jump up, you got dive heroes or something like that. But this Bleed Esports lineup is actually very grounded. There's really no way for them to deal with that high ground except for clicking on heads. So they'll be in a better position now. They get to hold their own high ground, but still a problem for Bleed down the line. And oh, it's a flank captive Sun.
I mean, why not, honestly? During that time, Vastola is able to get High Vision out of the equation here for ENCE. Bleed Esports, they now have to make this happen, but you see the nano boost coming in as well. Kai, however, does get the pick on the tracer there. This completely changes things. Ace finds Mirror in the process, but Capster can trade this right away there for ENCE. They keep control over this at least for a couple of more meters, while Clear has now taken out Vastola. This forces ENCE to retweet, but they have taken the lead.
Only a few meters in a very back and forth affair, and the nature of push is if you trade, you don't get to gain many meters, and that's exactly what happened there. Just forced Bleed to use some of those bigger ults for trading though. So ENCE will be happy to resort back to this high ground, set up their double flex support, and just say to Bleed, go on, what are you going to do? How are you going to break this? And it's really tough for Bleed, honestly. They just need a pick, or maybe a mistake from ENCE.
It looks very difficult for sure, but Kefster steps up once again. Ace and High Vision out of the equation, fail afterwards as well, and he takes out Clear once more. This dude is an absolute maniac on the trace. He's been forever and he still is for sure. Kefster once again stepping up, very, very impressive in this series. It's so incredibly fun to watch him play. Evolves by Overwatch hard.
Will be an early window to try and follow this up, but High Vision with a High Noon P catches Mirror. So trade is good, and they should be able to stop it before cap now as long as they can stabilize. You see Clear is now onto the D.Va, playing this one a little bit more aggressively now. Obviously gives them a few options to go high ground, potentially combined with a flank. You think how ENCE started some of their previous fights with a captive flank, the captive Sun flank. It's exactly the type of thing you need to do to break this difficult hold. And now they have the D.Va, they can maybe do something similar. Maybe they do a nano D.Va push into Yoshinori flanking or something, and maybe that's the way through for Bleed.
Trying to put some more pressure onto High Vision during that point, or like at least the lead has already flipped once again. Yoshi takes down Mirror, advantage stays in the hands of Bleed Esports therefore, as they make meter after meter closer to that checkpoint, which would activate the forward spawn for them as well. ENCE is under pressure here and trying to find the right timing to engage onto this push. So the delay, really, but Kefster, he's finding the pick.
Vessler was so annoying on that high ground, stalling forever, and now that gives a chance for ENCE to come back in. Pressure onto Ace, now the dive comes in, there's the pulse bomb, Kev is good for 2. And there were some doubts about Kev going into LAN, but I think those doubts are being evaporated pretty quickly. Clean up from Kevster, but really most of that came down to Vestler's ability to stall the point for so long and just help him deny that cap. So back on ENCE to be aggressive. They've got Captive Sun and they've got the self-destruct themselves. Let's see where they are. And this time Mirror is just with the team, so we'll be playing a little bit more front to back.
Couple of ultimates online on both sides. Kai is very close to having the pop once more, same as Sky with the window here. Slight advantage in favor of ENCE for sure. And High Vision under pressure gets taken up very early in this fight, but they eat the Larry ultimate in return. Didn't even know they could literally take a full sun and just throw it in the Matrix, you know? But yeah, quite the high technique macro for sure. Kevster gets another pick in here. This really seems to be his map here. Pistola gets the Lucio in the Diva bump actually, while Yoshi is able to stick the pulse bomb towards Mira, but still, ENCE trying to take the lead here. Just a couple of meters left. As they clear up this point. Yoshi under pressure. Ace does not hit the sleep dance. Pistola, good Matrix there.
Don't get back into the suit actually. So even though there's this trade on Sky, they might be able to get. But no, Yoshinori with 2. It's not over yet. Kev's still battling away. Vessler is on fire. Will get packed. Just trying to get that cap. They do get the cap, and Kev's just killed the entire lobby.
Absolutely crazy. I don't know. Like, he's been in this game for so long, right? 2018. His career. He's still like 23. He's like young, you know. But there's so much experience in that Swedish player. Incredible. Absolutely enjoyable to watch. And now they do have that forward spawn, which, well, is gone in a second. But they do have it ready, right? And therefore, they can work with this. They can work with like this touch point in their favor already. Now Kester trying to continue this absolutely amazing run here with the help of the Pistola. They can get Ace as well. And now 2 minutes 20 is not too much time.
This is something we've seen quite a lot here. You see not only sort of from Kev's point of view, but you see Vessler is right with him, and they actually get the kills. And in general, ENCE have always historically had a very aggressive Tracer plus tank line, even though they don't play that much Winston with Vessler in the roster, obviously. And despite losing this, they're actually going to steal some meters here as well. So they add a little bit to their lead despite losing that fight. But now they've gotten this lead, as long as Kevster can keep trading with Vessler, it's really hard for Bleed to win these fights in the long run. And Kev's just broken their ankles as well. They actually cannot stop this man, but they need to if they want to stay in this series.
They really do, and as you mentioned, it's still do or die, right? Bleed Esports, they need to win Colosio, otherwise it will be a 3-1 in favor of ENCE, and they do definitely want to avoid it since they already lost against Sata Division. Second L here would mean that they would have to battle it out with M80, who are currently playing Sata on the other stream. 1 minute 15 still on the clock, but there's so much space between them and a lead that they could potentially take. There's so many ultimates available for ENCE as well. The bot is getting thrown in, the pulse bomb is good, but not good enough. The buoy, the beat, it takes a lot of more HP on the Esports. They're able to win this fight after all, but still 50 seconds time is not their friend right now.
Oh, the trade's massive, actually. Yeah, it's such a pain that they lost Ace in that, because that fight almost went perfectly in so many ways. They trade Beat and Bob for the Rally Baptiste. It seems really reasonable. Then they have the Nano Diva for this next fight. Vessler's going to stall it out again. Important he can deny this cap before it goes through. And now Bleed have to regroup underneath. They need this Nano before they can go, though, so they might just go back to their own main here, Bleed, honestly. And, oh, they lose Paley at the worst possible time. Just reset again. They have to go back again, Bleed. They can't stagger out here.
They absolutely have to. It's a question of... This is definitely their last fight. It could be the last fight in the series. They have to take all the options here. Ultimates are available. The Nano Boost comes in very early, but the takedown Best with it. Yoshi's so low, but he makes it out alive in the end. Best already back here. Miro gets the kill. Miro dies in the end, but Vestola and Kev, they step up once again. High Vision and Ace are taken out. Overtime is ticking down. It is not looking good for Bleed Esports.
It's only Yoshinori now. Dynamited, focus down on point, and ENCE come through on top. Hard fought in the end. GG's exchanged, and I mean, GG for sure. Really impressive display by Bleed. Once again, they push a team that they didn't really expect to stand much of a chance on, all the way to the edge, and ENCE come out on top, but I don't think this was not the end of the day ENCE were expecting.
Definitely not. They were for sure